Yeah, I've seen a redneck kick a skunk right in his butthole once.
Did he fart out?
It's like he tried to, but he got like
he plugged it in the boot.
Yeah, he plugged it.
Yeah,
and so only his boot got stunked.
And throw them boots away.
He had boot stank, but he averted
the stink sack is what it's called. The stink sack.
He averted the larger full stank by kicking it in its stank spot. Seen it happen.
Okay, so I'm not.
Was that your cousin Skeeter or whatever?
I actually think it was my cousin, not Skeeter. I think it was Kenny Ray. Get your mustache straight. Fight to the importance. Hello, Airheads, back here in the Airstream Studios. I'm Trae Crowder. That's
Corey Ryan Forrester. I lost it immediately.
No, you're doing fine, love.
All right.
We're back here for another edition of Puttin On Airs.
Puttin On Airs, the podcast wherein two hillbilly dipshits talk about... And I went Australian there.
It's easy to do.
It is.
It's easy to like mix up the accents, you know, because they all sound sort of the same. I mean, they don't, but it's like if you got a bunch of them, if you got a bunch of them in your head, it's easy to slip in and out of them. Especially Australian, it feels like it slips in wherever you go. And then you switch it to English and without meaning to, and all that. But so here we are. So y'all know by this point we record these in batches. The nature of the way we do it. This is the first episode of the batch we're filming now. What that means is when y'all see this, you won't be in the distant future, which is the way we've been doing it. No. You will be in the not too distant future.
Means I might actually remember this episode when we're listening to it next week for clearing the airs.
That's another good point. Do you have anything like topical or current to say that you think will still be topical in 2 weeks? How about them gas prices, huh?
You know what? Wild. This really sucks because when I was heading up here...
still don't hit in 2 weeks, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We could do a bunch of evergreen shit there. Yeah. I saw a British tabloid magazine that I almost bought because it had some current, like, Harry Meghan drama. And I was like, well, by the time we talk about it, you know, this will be over. And I really wish that I had of now. There's apparently some sort of... with William's kid and William and Kate, right?
George, little Georgie,
there's
little Georgie Porgy.
There's a bit of kerfuffle with Georgie.
What's Georgie done?
I didn't buy the rag. I have no idea.
Tabloid drama about the baby 8-year-old.
Yeah, Russ, look up tabloid drama about babies.
Well, I don't think King just George. Any baby.
Yeah, King George,
future King George,
Prince King George. Yeah, Prince George. Is he the Duke or something?
Probably. Yeah. It's wild to have an 8-year-old Duke. You know what I mean? He's got like his own peasants and shit.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He can have them killed.
He ain't got a chance to not be a piece of shit.
No, and that's going to be very relevant to what we're talking about tonight, which I guess we can go ahead and say a little bit later. We'll have some other fun first, but a little bit later. Me doing my thing. Where the Venn diagram overlaps.
Still going strong.
Fancy people and trash people. Tonight, it will be not working. Both pretty big fans of it, in measures. Not calling either of them lazy. Well, I might be calling one of them lazy. I'm not saying poor people are lazy. We'll get into it. It'll be fun.
No, but some of them are.
Of course, yeah. And
there are some people who are poor because they're lazy.
Yes.
But...
It's not the epidemic that the rich people think that it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Professor Cho will educate us on the subject of, what is it?
The Black Plague.
That's topical, isn't it?
That is, the Black Death.
It's a bit late at this point.
We got monkeypox.
No, you're right. There's a new plague.
We're good.
You knew there'd be a new plague.
Dude, I'm worried about that.
As soon as that last plague went over the way it did, you knew they wasn't going to stop putting out plagues.
Yeah, I know. This sequel's going to be something else.
It's going to be a whole franchise of plagues,
This one's different, though, because, like, you can see it. You know what I mean? Like with COVID, you could have COVID and be walking around, but if you got monkeypox, people are going to be like, motherfucker, this guy's got monkeypox.
You just had the last plague.
I did have the last plague. I just got over it. That's why we're, up against the wall recording these fucking episodes. No, it did not hit. It sucked.
Plague don't hit?
No, plague don't hit. And I'll get into that more later. We were on record as saying, this camera, that camera, and that camera. Plague does not hit.
Past, present, future... Plagues do not hit.
Not for them.
Ain't never been a plague that hit.
Plagues, Hitler, vegan hot dogs, 9/11.
Yeah, in that order.
No, it didn't hit. I'm still, I'm fine. I'm not sick anymore, but I definitely feel like I still have, the COVID brain or whatever. And as you can tell, as soon as I did that, I was like, oh yeah, and I'm a little out of breath. And normally that wouldn't like faze me, but like I actually am in pretty good shape right now. So like I hadn't been not breathing good, and now I'm not breathing good. I'm not breathing good.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not breathing good.
Yeah. So I really noticed it. I was like, because dude, when pandemic first happened and they started talking about COVID, I was like, holy shit, all the symptoms of COVID I just walk around with all day. My head constantly hurts because I'm hungover. I've got allergies, so I'm sniffling. Can't breathe. Check. The only thing I got is I arguably taste too much. Yeah. My brain don't hit. All that. So I didn't think it really affect me, but now that I'm an more in shape person, the breathing really fucked me up, dude. Like
you kept your taste though.
Taste is fine.
Was that the thing you were absolutely the most terrified about?
Trae, I swear to God, I would rather
be dog. I already know because I felt the same way.
If they told me, I'm not kidding. I know this is gonna sound. Everybody's gonna be like, "You're full of shit." If they told me at the beginning of COVID, if they were like, "Okay, you will have absolutely no symptoms except for you'll lose your taste. But other than that, you'll be fine. Or
roll the dice.
Or you'll keep your taste,
and go
you'll be on a ventilator for 2 weeks. I'll be like, do I live? They're like, we don't know. I'd be like, click, clack, roll them. I can't. It's tomato season, dog. You know what I mean? Like I can't have that shit.
Dad needs a new pair of Hot Pockets.
But no, but the breath thing, man. Like like 2 days after I stopped feeling sick, and I thought, okay, I'm good to go. I went outside to do a cameo, which you can get by the way at cameo.com/Corey Ryan Forrester, and I went full buttercream for like 30 seconds and saw stars. Almost passed out in my yard and laid on my couch completely breathless for like, I don't know, 3 hours.
That ain't it.
Ain't it. But it could taste.
Yeah.
Tasted real good.
So, all right. Want to bullshit around a little bit first. I'm sorry that I don't recall who, but one of our intrepid airheads out there sent us an email and told us that we should look up the fact that in Victorian era England, fancy people, according to this person, used to keep hobos as pets.
Which said, ain't that just slaves?
That's just slaves, right? It's like slaves with less work. It's like slaves, but you don't make them work.
Yeah, right.
It's like, that's my slave. What's he do? He just lays
there. He just hits for me.
I give him wine and he hits. It's kind of like a jester.
Yeah, right.
Sort of.
Yeah.
It's like an updated version of a jester, except like instead of like farting on a goose, he screams at your child, presumably about whatever the most recent war was.
Have you made that goose farting joke before?
I said it to you when you told me you were thinking about writing a script about a jester with you as the jester.
Yeah.
And I was like, and you said you wanted to include a lot of like political intrigue, like you know, in the, what's the fucking word for the court? The court.
Yeah. Like I still want to do that.
Intrigue of the court.
Yeah.
And you were like, you know, almost Game of Thrones level intrigue, but also I'm a jester. And I was like, yeah, you know, I could see like two dukes plotting a war while you fart on a goose and how that would hit. So
I was like, did I already share the document with you?
I had it in my back pocket.
Yeah.
Anyway, I regret to inform you, and if whichever airhead you are, you see this, you're gonna know it's you. You can, if you have particular links, you can send them to us, and we'll cover it on Clearing the Airs. But I could not find it. I googled pet, slave, bum, fucking hobo, dog, person, Victorian era,
kind of slave.
Yeah, Victorian era wino in the house. Like I couldn't.
Now is this different than the garden hermit?
Garden hermit?
Yeah, there was something we talked about in one of the podcasts where rich people have some, like, basically homeless guy living in their garden.
We've talked about this?
Yeah.
Is that what that is? Garden hermit? That looks like a gnome.
Well, goddamn, that's like a
ornamental. Oh.
Where hermits encouraged to live in purpose-built hermitages.
Follies.
That's where the word hermitage comes from, like where Andrew Jackson lived, is like a house for a fucking
hermit
woods weirdo.
Did he live at the place called the Hermitage?
Yeah. Andrew Jackson, yeah. But I couldn't find nothing. So, but what I did find on accident while I was looking for information on pet homeless people in Victorian era England was an article about the other types of pets that became trendy in Victorian era England. They weren't content with your simple dog and cat situation, or even a parrot. they had to get a little weirder with it. And so there's a list of animals that became pets in Victoria era England. First item.
Can I guess?
I'd love for you to, especially the first item on this list.
Okay, I wanted to go with skunk, but I don't think they would know how to de-stink them back then.
I don't think they knew how to de-stink them.
Okay,
you can de-stink them.
You can, and they apparently make great pets. They're like a dog and a cat.
Like, no, you just cut the stink butt. The stink gland.
Yeah,
the stink pouch. He got a stink ball and near his butt.
You cut the stink ball out and take away the one defense God gave them, and then they make a wonderful pet.
Have you ever been skunked? You seem like you would have been skunked.
It wasn't like full bore skunk, but a skunking had just happened, and I walked near where the skunking happened. So
like
it was
when we got
enough
maced in Fargo.
Yes, it was exactly like when we got maced in Fargo. And I got enough of the skunk on me, but like it did come off. But like I've never been full on hit in the face with a skunk. I know people that have, and shoot.
Recently, I was at one of my solo shows. Go to TraeCrowder.com, get tickets, and it was at a mall, and so it's a mall parking lot, and I'm walking back to my hotel, which is across the parking lot from the mall, and it's empty. It's like 11 o'clock at night, and I hear something scurrying around, and I look, and fucking 2 feet away from me was a goddamn skunk looking at me like, oh, shit.
Yeah, right.
You know, and I freaked the fuck out.
You'd have to cancel the shows the next day.
Yeah, dude, he didn't, but he spared me for whatever reason.
You lucky dog.
Yeah, I've seen a redneck kick a skunk right in his butthole once.
Did he fart out?
It's like he tried to, but he got like
he plugged it in the boot.
Yeah, he plugged it.
Yeah,
and so only his boot got stunked.
I'd throw them boots away.
He had boot stank, but he averted
the stink sack is what it's called. The stink sack.
He averted the larger full stank by kicking it in its stank spot. Seen it happen.
Okay, so I'm not.
Was that your cousin Skeeter or whatever?
I actually think it was my cousin, not Skeeter. I think it was Kenny Ray.
So
my cousin Kenny Ray.
I'm not going to guess skunk, obviously. Wild pets. Let's see.
The first one is exceedingly relevant.
Peacock.
Squirrels.
Ah, squirrels.
How about that? Vicious little fucks that they are.
Horrible.
They had
no love in their heart at all.
Wild squirrels were frequently caught and kept as pets in Victorian times. A.C. Pridham remarked in the book Domestic Pets, Their Habits and Treatment, "It does seem strange that such a shy wildwood creature should ever submit to be made a pet, still more that it should quickly become so very much at home, as one generally finds pet squirrels are, with such fond, winning, playful ways of their own, that we cannot choose but to give them the petting in which they take such delight."
That's right. They love them.
Soulless. Utterly soulless. But no, they were like... But they didn't have like pet shops and shit. I guess maybe they had pet shops, but you couldn't get a squirrel at a pet shop. And like the rule of thumb was to go out and catch a baby squirrel.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like if you
Raise
want
it on your own. If you
want a pet squirrel, you need to go find a baby and steal it and then put it in a cage and make a hit, right?
Yeah.
Apparently there were squirrel mongers, not like full-time squirrel mongers, but you can find
just
a
squirrel mongering on the side.
Yeah, right. You know, side hustles, I dabble in squirrels. But you can find a squirrel man, right? Like somebody tells you, like, I got a squirrel man. I can go down there and holler at the squirrel man, throw a fucking rock at his window or whatever. But this was advised against because oftentimes they would dope the squirrels up on laudanum, which you know is a big deal back
squirrel
then.
Xanax.
Squirrel Xanax, yeah. And in order to make them like, you know, easily handleable.
Yeah, right.
To sell them to people, but then they
give a squirrel lane, they'll do whatever you want.
Exactly. So they give them squirrel lane and then give them to a little fucking duchess or whatever.
The squirrel's just tongues hanging out.
And then they get the squirrel home and it fucking sobers up and loses its shit, starts fucking tearing everything up, shitting all over the place. Or more often it says in here, buyers are warned not to accept a dopey squirrel, as it was likely hopped up on laudanum and would soon expire.
Right.
So
it would
just
withdraw
died.
from, it's OD'd.
It just OD'd. Here's an OD'd squirrel. And they get it back.
Because somebody had to be like, how much laudanum do we give a squirrel?
Will he wake soon, Mummy? He's taking a long nap, and it sure is. And the squirrel's just like X's on its eyes.
His breath smells like Daddy's.
Yeah, and then the dad has to like surreptitiously just throw it out a window or whatever.
To its dog.
The squirrel escaped. So they used to keep them in little cages with like fucking, a wheel to run around in and all this stuff, which didn't hit for some people. It says that, the harmless festive squirrel has in its wild state about as joyous a life as any other creature in the world, and it is a matter of wonder that anyone who truly cared for such a pet could have evolved the painfully cramped cages with that miserable attempt at a playground, the maddening little wheel. And so instead, he advised,
that was a squirrel lover.
Instead, he advised that squirrels are happiest with a mate and in a large cage with moss and branches and all that shit.
Yeah, give it room to fuck.
Sometimes pet squirrels were allowed to roam free in the house, making use of the furnishings. And he's like, "Isn't it lovely having the rodents about? The rodents in the parlor, the smoking room, rodents everywhere." Yeah. So, all right. You got any other guesses about what you think might be on this list?
So I said
you
peacock.
ain't never gonna guess the second one in a million fucking years. I think.
Okay. Is it along the same line as squirrels?
Kind of, I guess. Maybe in at least a couple of ways, but like
in the fact that it's a soulless wild animal.
Yeah, exactly.
A baby deer.
Badgers.
That ain't it.
No, dude. I always thought badgers.
They'll fuck you up.
Yeah,
dude. They got them.
Honey badger don't give a shit.
No, yeah. Now those are different, right? A honey badger and a badger are different.
Well, first of all, yes, that's true. But according to this, the badgers they got ain't assholes like the badgers we got.
Really?
That's what it says. It says they do not have the vicious reputation of the North American badger.
Because a badger and a beaver are two different things, obviously. Because a beaver's not. I feel like I could see having a beaver. You know what I mean? Like beavers just.
Especially if you got like a bunch of leaks and shit. He'll take care of that real quick.
Fucking great, man.
I know that
tweet.
That tweet.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How would it say? It goes, I just love thinking about the fact that beavers look at running water and just go, absolutely not.
This cannot stand. But in another book about wild pets in Victorian England, it says, "It's a very interesting pet with many quaint and curious habits, remarkably like those of a bear on a smaller scale."
That's what you want.
I don't think you want that.
A tiny bear.
Just a little but grown bear.
Yeah,
like a bear cub, maybe. If you took like a grown-ass bear and shrunk it down to badger size, I don't want that in my house.
No.
Eat your fucking squirrel.
And your kids.
But they was wild, dude. It also, the book advised...
I just realized I've never seen a badger. Like in person.
I
haven't. I was thinking I had, but it's like, no, I've definitely never seen that. Like the only time I ever see a badger is like on, Wisconsin's fucking mascot.
Yeah, go
or whatever.
Badgers.
Yeah, go Badgers.
You slipped into the Chihuahua accent. That's what you did. You started Wisconsin and then went Chihuahua. Like, go Badgers. You just did.
I sure did.
So this book also advised that you feed the badgers dried fruit and whatnot, and also the odd treat of a wasp's nest full of larvae.
Oh my God.
Because everybody's got those lying around. Now you got to go find a fucking wasp nest. Wasp nest with all the fucking...
So you've got a mini bear in your house and you're like, you know what, this needs some wasps.
Yeah.
Let's go get a wasp's nest.
Yeah.
I don't like saying the word wasps.
Wasp nest is giving me a lot of trouble
nest.
Too. Wasp nest.
Yeah. It sounds like you're lisping.
There's too many like S's close together.
Wasp nest.
I don't like a bunch of S's close together.
I don't like a bunch of S's close together.
Keep them separated.
That's like a Southern gentleman.
Yeah.
I got no business with wasps.
Number 3 on the list, scroll down there, Russ, because I like this picture. Sorry for anybody who's just listening. Another one you wouldn't guess.
Oh, owls. No,
owls. Look at that.
Oh.
It's like, I present my owl. You think that hits for that owl?
Oh, but Big Boy got owls.
From Outcast fame?
Yeah. You know he has owls.
He has pet owls? No.
Is that a hood thing?
Yeah.
Owls?
He has owls. Yeah. Like so I heard somebody talk about on a podcast that he's got owls. And then apparently not that long ago, somebody just who lived in the Atlanta area and knew where Big Boy lived, just strolled up to his house, knocked on the door, and they were like, yo, I'm trying to see Big Boy. And Big Boy comes to the door and the dude's like, hey, motherfucker, I know you got owls. And he's like, yeah. And so Big Boy just takes him down, shows him the owls, and goes, now get the fuck out of my house. But, like, yeah, he's got owls. I seen a video with him and 2 Chainz. Like, he's just got owls.
Owls on owls, dog.
Yeah, buddy.
Got stacks of owls.
Yep, he sure does.
That's pretty baller.
It is
I
baller.
suppose.
Yeah.
So, yeah, about the owls, it says the biggest downside to them was their nocturnal habits. They're nocturnal creatures.
Yeah,
It was like, so, but
they're
you,
up all night shitting everywhere.
right, it's like, but you can get around that because you can wake them up. It says, now, although at first to wake the owl will be found rather a tedious business, and to keep it awake still more difficult, but a presence of a mouse, small bird, or large beetle will generally rouse it and cause it to remain awake for some little time. It's like you gotta go catch all these other things,
which an owl normally would do if you just let it be an owl.
But if you gotta keep an owl, it's like now you gotta go catch beetles and fucking mice and all this shit.
A large beetle? How big of a fucking beetle makes up for a squirrel?
No shit.
Like that's a big
squirrels
ass
at
beetle.
least like 25 beetles.
Yeah.
Checks out.
25 beetles for sure.
How many horses was a dog? How many dogs was a horse?
15.
15 dogs was a horse.
15 big dogs was a horse.
Horses, 15 dogs?
Yep. Horses, 15 dogs. So
I don't know. I think that'd be 15 little dogs.
yeah, you're probably right.
Dude,
Yeah,
big dog's big.
A big
Big
dog
dogs
is
are big.
Big dog is big. I think, so how many beetles was a dog, we said?
We didn't do beetle dog.
Beetle to squirrel.
How many beetles? We said about 25 beetles is
And
a squirrel.
I would say...
How many squirrels are a dog?
Big dog?
How many beetles?
Let's
Or
stick
little
with the
dog?
little dog.
5 squirrels.
5 squirrels is a little
7
dog.
squirrels.
So 25.
7 times 25.
25 beetles.
So 150.
Okay, you doing it. Well, where's the 7 come from? You know,
It's
we
7
are not-
dogs.
we are not doing
Seven
math.
squirrels is 1 dog.
I thought you said 5.
I did it first, but then I changed it to 7. So 7 squirrels is 1 little
So
dog.
175.
175.
175 beetles is a dog.
Yep.
And 15, I can't do that.
Yeah, so 15, Russ, 15 times 175.
Yeah.
Look that up. Look that up. I need to know. I need to know how many beetles is a horse. Did you look it up?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, God damn it.
15,
Yes!
15 times 175.
Uh-huh.
So a horse is roughly 2,625 beetles.
Checks out.
Yeah. Well, somebody had to work it out.
I'm saying.
We did it right here on this program. So number 4 is ravens.
Ooh.
Seems dangerous.
Ill-advised.
Yeah,
I have
right.
seen people that train ravens, and apparently they have a really, really good memory. And they'll
Ravens are like real smart, I reckon.
yeah, they'll figure out puzzles. Like I saw this one video, and it was like a puzzle that if it was on the SAT, I'd have had problems with it.
I also seen a raven tell a guy "fuck you" once.
Saw
on
that?
a YouTube
You
video.
sent that to me?
Yeah.
And
Imagine that happening. You're just on a park bench and a bird lands and goes "fuck you,"
dude, I'm out.
Imagine
I mean,
that.
especially a raven. Like
Yeah.
I'm out, dude. Same raven I saw smoke a cigarette.
Yeah. Ravens are like the uncles of the fucking bird
Fuck
world.
you.
Yeah. Smoking cigarette. Or the French. Or
Yeah,
like
the
the
Fr-
French
yeah.
was like, fuck you. I give a beetle to the owl. All right. And then number 5 is jackdaws, which jackdaws are basically.
What the fuck is that?
It's basically just a raven.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much another type of blackbird. Number 6, you might be able to guess
Okay.
because they're very, like, a lot of people have tried to make them pets. They do seem like they'd hit to have a pet, but also not hit to have a pet.
Big.
Yeah.
Medium. How many beetles?
If a horse is 2,600 beetles, I'd say the type of these we're talking about probably 400 beetles.
Donkey.
Monkey.
Oh, monkey. Yeah,
You're
duh,
off.
400. 400, you
400
said.
beetles, yeah.
Yeah.
Monkey's about 400
Monkey.
beetles.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah,
we're
yeah.
not talking about a gorilla.
Yeah, right.
A monkey.
Monkey, like a little chimp,
Yeah.
which
So-
they're different.
So apparently there's an entire book from 1888 by Arthur Patterson called Notes on Pet Monkeys and How to Manage Them. And
The Caesar Milan of his day.
and it includes tips on how to give them a suitably simian name.
Simeon.
Like monkey.
Monkey,
So,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So a name suitable for a simian. These are the recommendations he gives. Feel it all over the place to me. There's Bully, Peggy, Mike,
and Peggy.
Mike
and Peggy
Yeah.
the monkeys.
Mike, Peter,
Yeah, I could see that.
Jacko.
No,
That's
George?
a good monkey name. Jacko.
Jacko, yeah.
Jimmy, Damon,
No, Demon.
Barney, Tommy, Dulcimer,
No.
Uncle,
Ain't dulcimer a instrument?
Uncle, or Nips.
Nips is fine.
Nips the monkey. So that's a good monkey name.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know about Peter.
I
but
think Peggy's great.
yeah.
How about Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin. I wanted to name a dog Kevin one time.
In the book, it says, anyone who undertakes to keep one of this family as a pet must be prepared for somewhat unlooked-for developments. Their capacity for mischief and insatiable curiosity are things that have to be reckoned with.
They throw poop at you.
Yeah, they fucking monkeys. The furniture of an apartment need not be expensive. Poles, ropes, bars, and swings are what the monkeys will appreciate more than chairs or sofas. Yeah, no shit.
Don't worry about furnishing your apartment with chairs and stuff.
The larger monkeys should not be given as much freedom as their smaller brethren, for should one of them embark upon a tour of destruction or given free rein to his impish wickedness, it would be a serious matter to restore order. It says, next time you take a monkey out, give him a savory morsel like a date or an apple and sympathize with it, and then you are sworn friends from that time on.
Yeah, because monkeys is strong.
Real strong.
As Chappelle
Joe
said,
Rogan has often stated,
yeah, and
they'll
Chappelle,
rip your dick off.
Yeah, rip your dick off, throw it in the tall grass, never to be seen again.
That Punisher comic you're reading had a monkey do that.
Yes, it did. And which I just assumed was a nod to the Chappelle joke because that comic came out around the same time. But yeah, they will fuck you. That one bitch went on Oprah or something.
Got her face at.
Face at. Yeah. Ate her face.
Pet monkey at her face.
Her face. Like her pet. A monkey she knows.
That don't hit.
No, that don't hit.
Strange monkey eating your face is one thing.
You remember that from
monkey
Oprah?
Yeah, well, dude, that was more than Oprah. That was like
that was more than Oprah.
That was like a headline. Dude, fucking bitch got her face up.
But Oprah
got her face up by her own monkey.
Yeah, I know. Her own monkey. Again, that's the thing here. That was her own monkey. Like,
yeah, but either Siegfried or Roy got his throat at by his own tiger.
Yeah, but they was fucking with him all the time.
She was probably fucking with that monkey.
That's true. You don't just get a monkey to be like, "What's up?"
No,
like you're fucking,
if you get a monkey, you're gonna fuck with it.
Throw it around.
Why even have a monkey if you ain't gonna fuck with
Juggle, motherfucker.
Yeah.
All right, you're right.
She might have been fucking it too.
That's true.
You never know.
This episode is brought to you by Car Shield, who makes it easy and affordable to protect my car from expensive repairs. And that's just for starters. Car Shield is the #1 auto protection company in the U.S. and offers protection plans for around $100 a month. The plans cover more parts than ever before, whether your car has 5,000 miles or, like mine, 150,000 miles.
Either way, let us tell you how simple it is to get your car fixed. When you need a repair, you choose the mechanic. We've all got our guy, right? You choose the mechanic you want, and Car Shield's administrators handle the rest. That's it. You don't have to deal with the paperwork or the headaches. You're completely taken care of. Same goes if your car breaks down, you're stuck on the side of the road. Plans through Car Shield also include coast-to-coast roadside assistance.
Car Shield administrators are there for you with rental car options and trip reimbursement at no extra cost. That's zero extra cost. So get coverage today and you'll lock in your price now and it will never go up. That means as long as you own your car, no matter how old it is, you're protected from the rising cost of parts and repairs for your vehicle.
Car Shield helps protect our wallets from expensive car repairs, and they'll do the same for you. Go to carshield.com/podcast to start your plan and lock in your pricing forever. Forever. That's carshield.com/podcast. A deductible may apply.
All right, so moving into my thing. Fancy people, poor people alike, trash people, rather. Not just poor. We talk about trash specifically. Fancy people and trash alike, they both love not working.
Love it.
Love it. Now, fancy people, I feel like they really, first of all,
they like to call what they're doing work.
Exactly.
But it's not.
That's what I was going to say. They talk a lot about how much they work, but also there's a difference, there's like generational fancy, like the fancy that first becomes fancy, they work more than the next level of fancy. Right. The next level of fancy don't work worth a damn.
No.
But
generation after that, maybe, because their parents were...
Before we get into them, even the fancy people that, like, love to talk about how much they work and stuff, like, doing what?
Right.
Like, they go to, like, a 3-hour dinner with potential investors.
Wet
they just
lunch.
sit there drinking, talking about titties and stuff.
They're on the golf course making deals.
Right, and it's like, I worked 13 hours today. And it's like, you was hitting for most of that.
Because, like, their work is, like, getting their already existing money to work for them.
Right.
So,
which they don't even really need or have to do.
Right, but
a whole bunch of money just makes money on its own.
But, like, so I think we've talked about this a decent amount. I work a lot but like I enjoy the work that I'm doing. Like it's making funny videos and yada, yada, yada. So I'm never going to look at like a fucking coal miner and be like, I hear you, I put in 14 hours today too. And with these motherfuckers, like, it's even worse for them because like you said, they don't even have to. I still at least have to be doing these fucking videos and shit. But like, yeah, they're on the golf course for 4 hours and they're like, hard day out there telling Steve where to put my money tomorrow.
So I found this quote in an article about this exact thing that said, the more obviously one's work benefits other people, the less money one is likely to be paid for it.
Say that again.
The more obviously your work benefits other people, the less money you're likely to be paid to do it. So basically like garbage man, plumber, shit like that. People that like do shit for people.
Actual labor,
like get paid.
They call it unskilled labor.
Right. Right, but like hedge fund managers and shit. And there was a thing in there, it's like a pilot stud, just like a survey basically, where they asked all these hedge fund managers, like, you know, if we woke up tomorrow and there were no garbage men, no sanitation workers, and also no hedge fund managers, which would be the bigger deal? And of course, all these guys were like, they were like, you can just replace those other guys.
Yeah, right.
Like that's not a big deal. Somebody will pick our shit up.
Yeah,
but who's going to
fund the hedge?
These oil futures? Yeah, who's going to fund the hedge? These billionaires got hedges, got to be funded. You can't just do that. If I'm not here tomorrow, what's going to happen? Their hedge will go unfunded. They can't have that shit. But so
I've always had a problem with that the term unskilled labor or whatever, because it's like, well, then you fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So, but again, that's like, so the first generation wealthy is more what we're talking about there. But when you talk about that,
like Cornelius Vanderbilt came from nothing and started the empire, but then, you know, George, his son, didn't have to do
But
nothing.
even that motherfucker, and Bill Burr talked about this on Conan, but like even those dudes, when they get to a certain level, it's like most of what they do is just tell other people to do stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
They're like, you know what would hit? If you
did that,
figured out how to make this phone levitate,
better clock out.
I want it by Friday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I got to hit the golf course.
Yeah, right.
And then these people slave away trying to figure it out and then get no credit for it. Right. And he makes another $3 billion or whatever. But they kids though, and of course we're painting with a broad brush here.
That's fine.
It's not all of them, but the children of the ultra wealthy tend to be pretty damn sorry and just love not working. Apparently a lot of them have they're not motivated because why would they be? It's like, why? And honestly, dude, it's like, shit.
No, I get it.
Why would you work?
Why would you? Right.
But they're like, why go to college? Why work at all? It's like my parents already made everything hit.
Right.
So like, why shouldn't I?
There are the
just hit.
There are the random ones that like you see where it's like they know there's no reason for me to waste my time trying to make money because I have plenty. So they will like dedicate their life to charity or whatever. And like, to me, that's great. Like if you
even that, I had that on here, but since you brought it up, I always thought it was funny when you read about like wealthy dynasties and stuff. There's always at least a couple of the kids whose like career is listed as being philanthropist.
Yeah, right.
Which I always thought was funny because it's just like
that means I have money
and not give it away.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I professionally throw money away at things.
Yeah.
I'm a professional money thrower. But it is better that they do that
because
than something else.
Because like in that situation, if I've got this person,
it's like they just sit there with a phone. And somebody's like, "Hey, you want to give these kids money?" It's like,
yeah.
Which are they black? No. But
I'm saying like I would rather if there's somebody who like their money's already taken care of for the rest of their life, some of them might be like, but I still want to work and feel like I earn my keep. They're taking a job from somebody who needs it. So I would rather them just do the charity thing. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, I don't want you to work because you're taking a job away from somebody.
Sure. But yeah, a lot of them, they don't get up to much of shit. So there's an entire Instagram account devoted.
It's called something. It's
Rich Kids of Instagram is the one that I found.
No, I meant like second generation of wealthy.
There's probably a few of them, I guess.
Yeah.
But Russ, if you go into POA Doc and pull up this Instagram account, I thought we could click around on here a little bit, comment on it. But yeah, it's just dedicated to these sorry ass scions of generational wealth So yeah, I didn't scroll through this too much, this Rich Kids of Instagram account, but there was a couple of them, Russ, right there where you just were, go back. Yeah, Ooh. So you know it's a lot of thoughts and fancy cars.
Thought is that hoe over there, right?
It is.
Okay. I'm a fan of that.
I believe that's the preferred nomenclature.
Yeah.
Up, Russ, the middle one right in the middle. Up, no, right in the middle with the red car and that dude. So, like, you got a lot of shit like this. This dude don't look like a kid to me, but watch.
No, he doesn't.
Watch this. Yeah. He's pouring champagne or rosé or something into the gas tank of his Ferrari.
Well, that ain't it.
And then into the wine glass of his thought. So presumably to prove, hey, this ain't gas, it's whatever else. So it's just like,
I'm ruining this car.
Yeah, exactly. Because I hit.
Yeah, right.
Y'all don't hit. Would you like to have his car? Too bad. I ruined it because I hit.
Dude, fuck that guy.
Yeah, right. Well, a lot of them be that way.
That car's so sweet.
And yeah. The other one is right beside it.
And so this page right here is someone finds these and aggregates them.
I think so. Watch this guy. Rich but unhappy, poor but happy. He chooses rich but unhappy, and then the whole rest of it is just him crying on a private jet and him being sad. Him being sad in front of his Rolls Royce. I think that is. Yeah, look how upset he is in his private bar.
That's a bummer.
And it's like, so it's just the trash DNA that I have. Now this dude, that's like, it's a joke. He's making this for the gram,
of course, pretty tasteless one, but yeah,
right. But I'm saying it's like, a lot of them, like you read about these rich kids and how they're unmotivated and they don't want to do shit. And it's like they have all these problems because their daddy is always working. He's never around and they have no purpose in life and all this stuff. And then they're sad like this guy is. And I just cannot help but be like, okay.
Go to therapy.
I don't care even a little bit, really. Like, you can be sad in front of your Rolls Royce.
Of course.
You can be sad on your private jet. That hits harder than being sad in coach, which I often am.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, fucking, I just can't find it in my heart to feel too much empathy for them. I don't know if that makes me an asshole or what. I mean, I
feel empathy for anyone who's going through it sad-wise or whatever, but, like, go to therapy. You can afford the best one. Or, like...
We're in a future episode. I'm going to talk about rehab, and also drugs, and this whole thing we're talking about now will come up a lot in that about rich kids and drugs and rehab and the shit they have access to, But like rich kids, the ones that are motivated,
you can find purpose, though.
Right. Well, so on that note, it's just if you do find purpose, you will have a massive advantage over anyone else who's in the field that you're trying to fuck with. Because in entertainment is one example. We know there's plenty of people who, like, they hit at what they do, whether they're a comedian or an actor or whatever. But, like, when you come from a situation like this, you can be allowed
a lot of steps.
Well, you can be allowed to just be like, I'm an actor now, even when you ain't.
Right.
Because you don't have to work at Guitar Center to afford to
audition
eat
every day
while you're being an actor.
Right.
Like, you can just do that out the gate because you don't need to have a job, which gives you a massive leg up on all the people that have to wait tables and all that shit while they're also doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know dudes, like, I know some dudes like that. And, again, so that's what I'm saying is, like, still, like, go find your purpose. Like, you don't just have to cry in front of the Lamborghini or whatever. But I guess to his point, it would hit harder to cry in front of a Lamborghini.
Sure.
But in that video, though, it was happy but poor. So it wouldn't be crying in front of an old rusted truck. It would be being in an old rusted truck like, this is the best shit ever. And frankly, I mean, I don't know if people truly know the difference between sad and happy. Like if you're actually depressed or whatever. But I would definitely take happy and poor. I don't know.
Right. And I don't know if that guy was saying, like,
because if you are happy, then poor doesn't matter.
Or if he was saying, I choose this.
Right. Yeah.
It was like, happy but poor. Poor don't hit. I'll take being sad on the jet, in which case, like, hey, all right.
And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, happy hits harder than sad, but not quite to the degree that rich hits harder than poor.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like rich hits harder than poor so much harder than happy hits. Because like again, if you got, I think Drew used to have a bit where he was like, money won't solve all my problems, but if I had money, I'd have time to work on them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like if you're rich and sad, you can go see somebody about the sad.
Right. So all these rich people got all these sorry ass kids, right? On account of they made them sorry by lavishing them with fucking, monkey pets and monkey pets and stuff, and not ever making them work for nothing. But now they sorry. So a lot of rich people are it's like become a thing. A lot of them are disinheriting their kids,
just taking away all their shit.
Not most of them, not entirely. So it's like but a lot of them are like giving away massive chunks of the fortune to other people and being like, my kid can have 5%. Now, that's still like $300 million.
Right.
So like they're going to be fine, but it's their way of like pushing back on it or whatever. They're going to be like, yeah, they
make
don't
you work for it.
Yeah. The thing you've never had to know how to do your entire life. But hey, at least it's something. And I don't know if that's the full impetus for all these billionaires been talking about giving their fortune away and stuff. But if it is, I hope they have a bunch more sorry ass kids. You know what I mean?
No shit. Throw some our way.
Right.
I'd like for us to have like an actual studio and shit.
And as far as poor people not working, it's like that famous
Office Space
quote from Office Space is like, you don't need $1 million to do nothing, but it's like, take my cousin, he's broke, don't do shit.
Broke, don't do shit. Yeah.
Like we've all known those people that, the types of trash that just don't, first of all, you draw a check. Drawing a check hits.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of people draw checks for legitimate reasons.
Absolutely. We've written all about it.
But there's also plenty of people who exist who just, got on that tip,
dude,
and made it hit. But drawing a check is what's up. That's like the trailer version of winning the lottery.
Yeah, right. Getting that check,
drawing a check. My mama draws a check. Always has. Loves it. Hits for her.
Having a sorry brother-in-law is like the cliche. You know what I mean? Just like having a whore sister or whatever in the South. But like, yeah, we all like. I know more poor people who ain't lazy for sure. But we all know that one person that is like the stereotype for what everybody thinks, fucking poor people are. We're like, they are genuinely like that whole like poor but happy. They do choose that. Like some of them do. They're like, I don't want to do shit. I don't care if that means I don't have nothing and my kids ain't got nothing. I don't want to do a goddamn thing.
I want to find out if you heard the same shit that I did when it comes to those people that you're talking about. They drew a check, but in Salina, it was always, no matter what was going on with them, it was always one specific type of check in Salina.
Back pain?
No,
crazy check?
Crazy check.
Crazy check.
It was always
my uncle drew a crazy check.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, what's he do?
Then he'd draw titties.
Oh, first he draw my crazy check, then I'll draw titties.
With his poop.
I'm an artist. Yeah. I do a lot of drawing. But yeah, it was never just they draw a check, like they draw a crazy check specifically.
And
that's
my
what
uncle
everybody called
his,
it, which is funny because it's like, that's just the catch-all for, whatever you convince the government your brain don't hit.
Yeah, right.
My brain don't hit to such a degree.
I need a check.
Yeah.
You're going to need to put me up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, my uncle drew a crazy check and again, sincerely earned it. But yeah, that's a big one because like the thing about my uncle was like, I understand people whose brains don't hit in the words we're not supposed to say way. You know what I mean? R word way. And they get a check and it's like, yes, because they can't take care of themselves. My uncle wasn't.
They get an R word check.
Yeah, they get R word check.
That's different from a crazy check.
My uncle wasn't R word. He was just a fucking lunatic.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think to them, they were just like, we'd rather him just stay at home.
Right.
You know what I mean? If he could just stay at home, that'd be great. So we're just going to give you, this check.
Yeah.
Me and my uncle aren't that much different. I feel like I qualify
for a crazy check.
I feel like
there's a crazy check.
I feel like there's a lot of people I know that were like, you should just give him money to stay at home. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That'd be all right. Put me in a what's that thing Britney Spears was in? Conservatorship.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I need to be in one of them.
Conservatory is like
where stars are. You look at stars.
Is it?
No, that's an observatory.
Yes.
Yeah. Conservatory is
like where trees
classical
are?
music.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's
classical music is?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a conservatorship
is what Britney Spears is on, which is what I probably need to be on. I kind of am, actually, now that I think about it, because, no, for real, I don't know even close to the amount of money that I have. I'm not kidding.
Right.
No, dude, I couldn't even guess. Right. It could be a lot. We could be really, well, we're not struggling, because if we were struggling, Amber always gives me the, don't get those shoes.
I was going to say, you would know if you had no money.
Yeah, that's true. I would know if I had no money. But Amber handles all of our finances, and she just kind of lets me do my thing. Yeah. That's kind of a conservatorship, right?
I feel like she pretty much just being married, right?
She don't tell me what I can and can't do with the money, but if she wanted to, she could freeze my account, and I'm not kidding. I don't even know what bank to go to get the money back. I have no fucking idea. Like, if she just froze my account right now, I would have to convince her to unfreeze it. I have no authority whatsoever.
Yeah, so we just found out live on the show that Corey's kind of in a conservatorship.
Yeah. Oh, is that Margot Robbie?
Yeah. So conservatory is both a college for the study of classical music, but also a room with a glass roof and walls attached to a house used as a greenhouse or sun parlor.
Which you could see stars
where
through.
trees is at. I said trees.
And I said
stars. I guess you don't
stars.
keep trees in a greenhouse. I knew it was plants.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, it's both. All right. So we need to move on to Professor Cho, and thus we can do so. So whenever you're ready, buddy, let's get into it.
We'll be back right after this.
Psst. Who's going to take care of your family if something happens to you? What would they do without your income? If you don't have a plan, you need to go to GoliathLife.com. Get a quick quote for more than 20 carriers. You don't even have to leave the house. If you need a medical exam, they'll send somebody to your house or office. You're in total control. You pick the rates, you pick the payments, you pick the terms. You're in total control, but it gives you and your family peace of mind. What if something happens to your income? Hurry to GoliathLife.com. Are you feeling stuck making minimum payments on your credit card debt? SaveWithConrad.com can help, and you don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket to do this. NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Oh, and did I mention no house payments for 2 months? Get rid of your credit card debt and lower your monthly payments right now at SaveWithConrad.com.
All right, everybody, let's do it. It's time once again for History of Professor Cho on the subject of
the Black Plague. Okay. Trey, where are you at on plagues?
They don't hit.
No,
I've
they
always
don't
said
hit
it. So the Black Plague, what I know about it is ring around the rosies about it, and is a bunch of fleas on rats' asses, made a whole bunch of people cough to death back in the day. Go ahead.
I know the fleas on the ass part is true. Was ring around the rosy about the Black Plague?
I thought it was.
Because here's the thing.
There's two pocket full of posies. You need the posies because you smell all the dead corpses and stuff. Which
but see, there was two plagues, and I thought that the Black Plague was the one that was around when Henry VIII was around, but that's not the Black Plague. That was the sweating plague or the sweating something or whatever. This one actually was from 1347 to 1350.
Okay.
And that's what fucked me up because...
Well, either way, I just thought that...
Ring Around the Rosie might be about that one, but I'm saying there's two, like the one that I thought it was is not this one, is what I'm saying, the Black Death or whatever, because in my mind I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to talk about this, and I'm also going to bring up that old fact of how when the plague was going around, Shakespeare closed his theater down for 3 years, and they literally had, kind of similar stuff to our pandemic or whatever, but then I was like, wait, 1347 to 1350, holy shit, this is the OG plague, this is like the... fucking first Black Death.
And it killed like a third of the people in Europe or something like that.
Dude,
right?
A third of the people in Europe. There's a lot of conflicting numbers that are going around.
Yeah,
so
they wasn't good with numbers back then.
Horrible with numbers because they didn't know how many motherfuckers there were.
No.
Like our census
they
now.
They just had found out about triangles and stuff. They didn't know shit.
Our census now barely hits. Like there's no way that their census was good. But this was the bubonic plague. And it's called the bubonic plague because them little stinky pus-filled balls that they get on them, those was called buboes, right? So that's where they get their names, the victims of this particular plague. Like I said, this was in 1347 to 1350. I can't imagine that back then even not having a plague would be fun to be alive, but they didn't know shit about medicine. So victims at the end, it was called what was it? Oh, this is a fucking funny name. It was called something, the sick dance or the... son of a bitch. Oh, yeah, the dance macabre. All right, because at the end, they would get so sick that they just come.
DANSE?
No, the dance.
I know, but I've seen it spelled with an S before.
It wasn't an S one, but the dance, because at the end, they would just start going, yeah, and then they just fall the fuck out, right? So with this one, it was pretty much, it laid dormant for 2 days, and then on day 4, you were dead. Some of the reports are like that it killed a third of Europe, 25 million people. Eventually, though, it ends up taking out 50 million people, 13% of like the global population or some shit like that. It also is the reason that the Roman Empire stopped hitting at the time. Like one of the I didn't know that either. I thought they just got beat, which they did
by the plague
because their numbers were down and shit like that. You know what I mean? It hit all over Europe except for Poland, Sweden, Belgium. And nobody knows, like they didn't have like one case in those areas and nobody really knows why.
They had all the rats.
Yeah, maybe.
You know how Poland be.
Rat-wise?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I have no idea.
But yes.
No, that's wild. Maybe they just had stuff figured out better. And I wonder, like, what did they think about the plague and how it worked? They're just like,
dude,
get the stank out. Stank makes plague.
You've made this joke a lot of times, but like I think a lot of them thought it was ghosts in their blood because like I'm reading about this plague and shit, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like, because it hit Egypt. Like Egypt was like ravaged by this plague, and I'm like, is that the same shit that they wrote about in the Bible? That was was it Moses? Yeah, it was Moses. And then there was
all
the Pharaoh shit and the locust, and then there was a plague and stuff. I'm like, was it just this? And so they so I would say, especially because they didn't know shit about.
Wasn't all them plagues?
Yeah,
like in the Bible, didn't they call them all plagues?
Yeah, everything was
locust,
a plague.
A plague of frogs. Was there frogs?
I don't know if they called it there was frogs. They dropped. Look at that.
That's like
did the 10 plagues
as far as.
Water turned into blood.
Frogs
that's fine.
Ain't that bad.
No, that was always the funny one to me as a kid.
Kick some frogs out of the way.
Boils?
Hell, you can eat them.
Plague of boils. That don't. Yeah, right. Yeah, plague of frogs. You're like, fucking, it must be our birthday.
So it got so bad that they didn't know what to do with all these fucking dead bodies, and like their religion was so that they were like, we got so many dead bodies, we can't give them all a proper burial. And back then they thought, like, I think there's still some people that believe this. They're like, even if you lived a perfectly good life, if somehow we fuck up your burial, you don't go to heaven. So the Pope went and consecrated the Rhone River. Like he blessed the river or whatever.
So throw them all in there.
And they were just chunking the fucking bodies.
Yeah, you take the corpse wagon over to the fucking Hell River or Heaven River, I guess, as it were, and just dump them in there,
and then they're good to go. But
maybe like go through the town every morning and be like, here comes the corpse wagon. It's like,
oh, it stank.
Did we get our corpses out of here? Did we miss the corpse man? God damn it.
They don't run on Tuesdays anymore?
I thought it was Corpse Man Day. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all these corpses.
So
miss the corpse man. Fuck, it's garbage day. I gotta put my trash out anyway. Go ahead.
I'm glad we thought about that. So there's a lot of speculation as to where the plague may have started. A lot of people say Asia.
Oh yeah,
Wuhan specifically.
No fucking way.
To God. I swear to God. I swear to God.
They blamed them for the rat plague.
They blame them for the rat plague too. So
these look like China rats to me.
Some people say that it was originally believed to have started in Mongolia, though it's thought of to have existed in Asia before this, possibly originating on the Silk Road. Right?
Yeah, right.
So you'd get boils all over you that were black, and they were like burn blisters, and they'd get all over your glands and your balls.
Imagine
I know.
If our present day plague
was like that.
Was something like that.
Well, monkeypox?
Imagine how much crazier that shit would have been.
I mean,
do you think people would have been as fucking cavalier about the whole goddamn thing? I wanted if it made you like puss up and your skin explode and all that?
I wanted to bring that up because I mentioned it earlier in the first segment of like, you know, with monkeypox, like you can at least see it or whatever. Like with this shit right here, number one, people were dropping in 4 days. There wasn't you didn't make it to the goddamn ventilator. But like, yeah, man, like if COVID looked like this, there's no fucking, well, they're still idiots, but like there'd be way less people that were like, it's a hoax, it's fake. Cause like, again,
by the way, that's a funny sketch also for you guys. those guys in the Black Plague, like
we've thought about that before. Yeah, we need to do that. So no, they would get like pus balls like on their nut sacks and all their glands.
Oh God,
they would like
nut pus.
Within 4 days, they would start off like looking like an acorn, and then they would get the size of goose eggs.
The boils,
bro.
Fuck
and
that.
Then they would pop and they would stank. Yeah, they would pop and they'd stank.
Imagine the stank. You know it didn't not stank
anyways
before the plague.
Right.
Now all of a sudden you got exploding pus boils on every peasant in the land. Like imagine the stank.
Absolute stank.
Stunk up the rivers.
Then you'd puke blood and die. They would have, right before they died, not only was they doing the crazy dance, but they would have like walking fever dreams. So like their fever was so intense that they would just like kind of run around like zombies and just like maraud. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Maraud.
Zombies do be marauding.
Yeah, they would maraud. Did you also know that the bubonic plague is still around?
I did know that, yeah. But it's like not a big deal today, right?
7 people in the United States get it every year.
Right, but like also we could treat it.
We can treat it.
Right?
Yeah, we can treat it now. But like it's still.
I still don't want no nut pus.
I do not want.
I don't care if I got
nut.
a nut pus pill. I'd rather not have to take it.
And there was actually 3. The Black Death consisted of 3 strains, so kind of similar to what we got going on. And bubonic was.
How the fuck did they know that back then?
I don't know. I think
man, his nut pus is green.
I think
that's different from the yellow nut pus rat butt plague.
So the difference is there was a pneumonic and a septicemic strain, and pneumonic means it gets in your lungs.
Yeah, right.
And septicemic means it gets in your blood. Again, I don't know how these people were figuring that out. This might be something that we know later.
Open, dude.
Because of like they're fucking frogs. But the bubonic was actually the weakest of the 3, and one of the big reasons why like the bubonic plague, even if it came out today fresh, it wouldn't fuck us up as much because a lot of the reason
because we know how germs work and fucking medicine.
A lot of
it
was malnutrition.
We wouldn't be fucking just throwing salt on their boils and fucking casting their ashes on the flames.
Well, even aside from that, it was just that these people were so goddamn malnourished that like they're and this thing like the way it worked was like
I don't understand. I've been eating me rats
and me duck cabbage.
I've been eating me duck cabbage just like the doctor said.
Well, it would like this plague was like sneaky as fuck because when you get sick, your immune system kicks in and your white blood cells start fighting stuff. But this plague is sneaky and it could like
juke your white blood cells.
Yeah, it'd be like
that ain't it.
Barry Sanders. You know what I mean? Just like
bubonic plague was the Barry Sanders of plagues.
Been saying it, except for he did hit.
Right, and bubonic plague did not hit.
So, like I said, it gets in your blood. You start pussing out stuff. Then your blood pressure drops, and your body can't hang on to the nutrients, so you go into septic shock and die and all that shit. Now, again, on the origins of where this came from, there's a lot of archaeological digs and science and stuff like that now believe that it originated in Turkestan, more specifically some tiny villages amongst...
Turkestan. Was that a thing then? Is that a thing now? I know they got a bunch of stands, and I know they got Turkey. They got turkey.
I was listening to this.
That sounds like something your uncle would say
it's over in Turkestan.
Over in Turkestan.
Yeah, I might have heard that wrong.
Down there.
Rush, look up Turkestan. And some tiny village. I
think there's Turkmenistan.
Maybe that was it. I was writing all this on the plane.
Yeah.
So it's possible that I got it wrong. Wherever the Issyk Kul River is, because they found a bunch of mass graves there.
There is a Turkestan.
Boom.
In the present day? Why be goddamn.
There you go.
Historical region.
Wait, the first question is Turkestan a real country?
It says
historical. Yeah, Central Asia.
It says a historical region in Central Asia.
Yeah, so it was Turkestan then, it's Kazakhstan now.
Gotcha.
There you go. All right. So they found a bunch of mass graves there and found some documents.
What? They ain't have words back then.
That's what I said. I was like, bitch, they don't have words. But they were talking about basically like how they all died, and this was around the time right before the Black Plague in the Europe part or whatever. So they're like, oh, guess it came from there, not Wuhan. But they also say that it's very possible that this plague started from just a single flea on a rat. So like the rat get the plague, the flea bite the rat. And then the rat dies, but the flea don't die. So the flea's like, fuck, I need another host. So it just crawls up into some peasant pussy.
Yeah, peasant pussy. Yeah, right, yeah.
And bites it, and then it goes straight into the bloodstream. And again, like I said, a lot of people thought it was the Lord. And here,
but it originated with the fleas on the rat butt.
Mm-hmm.
But like, they passed it to each other, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it didn't just only come. They
No.
it was.
I'm pretty sure it was airborne.
You
although
only
I bet
got it from fleas.
I don't think so. I think it was airborne too. Like
Right.
dude, it would have had to be the way that it spread. Like, there's no way that fucking 200 fleas be biting peasant pussy.
Exactly. You know just lousy with fleas back then.
Dude, so Italy got hit particularly hard. Like 75. This is talking about the Roman shit. 75% of motherfuckers in Italy.
What?
Gone. 75%.
75?
Now again,
That's
I'm with you.
crazy.
I'm with you in that, like, I don't necessarily trust their numbers that much, but like that's what it says here.
That's a spicy meatball.
That
Right there.
is a spicy meatball. Fuck. Where's that fact that I wanted? Oh, so there's a lot of things about the hit.
Is that right?
Yeah. So there's a lot less people, which means there's now a lot more land, right? So land prices plummeted, but wages actually went
Now
up.
it's only one half-filled sack of coins.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? That you throw at the person who previously owned it. That ought to cover it.
So and it's funny because I do feel
and
like
also a donkey.
Just like nowadays, the only thing the rich people cared about is because it made the housing market crash, right? So the housing market crashes, but like because there's less people, but the same amount of work and stuff, like wages went up. So a lot of peasants were actually able to get land for the first time.
3 bowls of gruel. What do you say about that? Peasants are like, well, things are looking up.
So
sure, 2/3 of my family's dead.
So a
of
lot
nut pus, but I get 3 bowls of gruel. Pretty sweet
on this farm riddled with fleas. So anyways, peasants were having the ones that didn't die. Obviously, like I'd say with anything, this probably affected peasants more because they're out with the fleas, you know, and the rich people could.
Also, they're more malnourished, and
right?
All that
and
shit.
I like again, I know with the second
they just
plague,
generally don't hit.
like Henry VIII, like the rich people, like when they quarantine, they can easily just quarantine. Like, they don't have to worry about it. They're like,
but they knew enough, even though they didn't understand how it all worked, they knew enough to like stay the fuck away from the play. But yeah, like right. They were like,
he got it, and then he coughed on him, and then he got it.
I don't want him to cough on me.
I think that I'm not going to let him cough on me.
I'm surprised they didn't just like set them all on fire.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, they did.
A little bit of that?
No.
That was reserved only for women who knew math.
So apparently a bunch of the Mongolian motherfuckers, you know how they are. Wild. So they was at a war. They was at
Is this when they were hidden?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is pretty sweet right here. That you can tell why they hit. This ingenuity is absolutely unbelievable. So they had some of their soldiers ate up with the plague, and they was trying to fight these other motherfuckers over there across this wall. What do you think they did?
Through the
catapulted
soldiers.
They catapulted plague-riddled soldiers in the first recorded instance of what's the warfare called?
Siege?
No, not nuclear, but biological warfare. Yeah. The first instance of biological warfare was them just getting fucking Randy's son, and fucking catapulting him over the goddamn wall and just hoping that. And I mean, I'm sure it fucking worked. Here's the thing, though.
Funny they're told, it's like, you know what they're saying now will really help with that nut pus plague you got. Sit in that big wooden scoop right there. Hang on, just right there. One second. We'll
cut this rope real quick. So now there's 2 sides to every story. Now I want to talk about how much the plague hit. All right. There are a lot of people smarter than me. Could just end the sentence there. There are a lot of people smarter than me that posit that the plague is what brought on the Renaissance, right? And the reason that they say that is because, so these are my words jumbled up. They say that they started Renaissance because there was an economic crisis, right? Businesses were crumbling. And since no one was buying anything, no one was making anything. And thus money lenders had nobody to do business with. And like everything was shut down, right? Everything. And so nobody had nothing to do except for drink their asses off from tavern to tavern and create art and shit like that. You know what I mean? So like basically because they all thought they were going to die. Everybody thought this is it. It's just a matter of time before.
Might as well paint a fresco.
That's what I wrote in here. Fuck work. Let's drink and paint babies with their dicks out.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but
exactly.
Like they were doing that. They were like, we're all going to die. So we need to live like there's no tomorrow. And they start fucking painting and like Petrarch, who was the founder of humanism, a lot of his humanistic ideologies and stuff came out of the plague. And so like that's why that is. He he had a bunch of friends die in the plague, and then he sat on a rock and was like, you know what I mean? He's like, we're gonna do something.
I think stuff about
this.
Everybody, listen to stuff I think about this. I goddamn you what he thinks about that stuff.
Yeah, and so like that's the thing. And like to a smaller degree, I hit harder now because of the pandemic. I didn't have nothing to do but sit around and create shit, and I came up with but I'm just saying I get it from a fundamental level. You get people scared, and you get them like their fight or flight kicks in. Well, this happened to a fucking everyone, and who just happened to be living at this time? Motherfucking Leonardo da Vinci, right? So once all the money kind of starts coming back around and everything kind of opens back up, the nobility in the church had like been fighting over all the land that everybody had like died and not, they weren't their land no more. You know what I mean? So like your landed gentry motherfuckers are buying up this, and then the church is buying up this. And so they've got like this like pissing contest going on of like, who are we really going to let the church be more powerful than us? And the church is like, God damn it, we're the church. Of course we're going to be more powerful than you. So they had they had what was called a patronage war, where they both wanted to prove that they were more powerful. Like the church was trying to stick it to the rich aristocrats, and the rich aristocrats were trying to stick it to the church. So they had a patronage war, and the way that they proved how much harder they hit was by buying fancy shit. And this is why they started commissioning Leonardo da Vinci to paint the fucking Sistine Chapel and all that motherfucking stuff.
That was Michelangelo.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Same thing. And so this fucking guy. And so it started an artisanal bidding war for dudes like Leonardo da Vinci. And I just found out, by the way, that there's a difference between an artist and an artisan. So an artist
makes jellies at the farmer's market.
Kind of. An artist is someone who will paint you a picture. An artisan is a dude who can kind of do it all. Okay. Like, he's a guy who, like, any type of anything you need done, this motherfucker can do it. You want sculpt? I got you a guy. Paint? Same fucking guy. It's like a jack of all trades. So Da Vinci was considered more of an artisan. And also because there were less workers, they were forced to put their heads together and invent better farming equipment, which kind of made a mini industrial revolution right after this shit. So, and Islam started hitting, and they were trying to take over.
You know,
but this is actually how Islam kind of popped, because they had been trying to take over some motherfuckers for a long time, and then once the plague wiped out half the motherfuckers they were trying to take over, they were able to take over the
thanks God,
yeah, right, Allah. The Vestinian Empire. And I think that's all I got on the plague. I'm so glad that I didn't forget the catapulted thing. So I'm still to say this, I still think plague don't hit.
Right.
But like I never even once made the connection of like the Renaissance, and like I don't think that we're in a type of Renaissance right now.
I was about to say
it's
funny to me because like our plague, I feel like objectively made us dumber. So much worse.
But I'm saying this wasn't like
society,
but it wasn't immediate though. You know, it probably wasn't immediate, but like I'm just on a micro level. I think that
they was dumb. Plague made them smart. We was kind of smart. Plague made us dumb.
That's true. I had my own Renaissance during the plague.
Sure, but look around, baby.
No, I hear you.
We don't hit.
But yeah, that's the bubonic plague. You
do you not feel like after this plague that you're like, man, we're just so much dumb fuckier than I thought we were?
Yeah. You immediately made me realize what I said was stupid, for sure.
Well, I mean, this plague ain't that plague.
This plague ain't that plague.
So like it don't negate nothing you said about that play.
Right, but I
just don't.
Would that have ever crossed your mind like the Renaissance happened because of a terrible thing? Because of course, to have a Renaissance, a thing must have not hit first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess in my head it was always just like things never hit,
and now they
were like, let's make it hit.
Yeah, right. But no, it was everybody. Everybody was just like cooped up in taverns, drinking, waiting on the sweet release of death. And by sweet release, I mean fucking dick pus and the
explodey skin
and then death dance. Yeah, and then scare everybody.
Don't hit.
No, the plague did not hit.
No,
and that's all I know about it.
Plague don't hit. We've always said it.
That's true. 9/11.
Right. Well, hell, that does it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, thank y'all for listening to this or watching this week's episode of Puttin On Airs. Remember to like, subscribe, download, tell all your friends.
And enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
This enjoy clearing airs right here.
There you go. I've done forgot what we're supposed to do.
1, 2, 3, 4. Royalty and rednecks are alike. They both like cutting and picking fights. Biscuits and baked beans where they don't belong. Sit on down with Corey and Trae and learn some fancy shit today. We'll laugh a little even when they're wrong. They'll take you to a magical place where if you call someone a cunt, nobody cares. They keep it debonair at Puttin' On Airs. Puttin' On Airs. Puttin' On Airs. Puttin' On Airs.
Hey, Trae.
Hey, Cho, what's up?
Not much, buddy. Just chilling. This week, normally I try to wear some fancy stuff on this show, but I believe I left me Peaky Blonde's hat at your house, didn't I?
You did. I noticed that, and I thought to myself, there's no way he meant to do that.
No, of course not. But I figured, I was like, I don't have anything fancy at my house, but I will wear my Shakespeare sweatshirt and the whiskey hat that I got at the Dow Winnie whiskey distillery that we visited while we was out there in England.
Out in the Scottish Highlands it was.
Yeah, so I'm counting it. I'm fancied up. The fanciest sweatshirt I own, at least.
I ain't even had a shower today. That's where I'm
well,
at.
It's on.
And I did work out too. Rode the bike. Then
stank.
I just let the sweat dry sitting in my stank the whole time. So yeah.
That's beautiful.
How fancy I am.
I've already had 2 showers.
Yeah, that checks out. I just had a bunch of shit going on back to back, but I do that anyway, which is probably wild to people. I try to
that you sit in your stank.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's not that wild to them.
No, it's wild to me.
Why?
Just sit in your own stank. Yeah, no, I know you're trash. That's true. You are trash, and I guess that is how trash end up stinking because they sit in their own stank. But I just can't go on with my day. Like, I can't. Well, first off, you know me, even if I wake up clean, I can't start my day or even have any energy without a shower. But, like, dude, if I'd worked out and was sweaty, there's no way I could do any other activity before I cleanse myself.
It's kind of an act of self-flagellation now that I think about it, because it's like which checks out also, I think. Because it's almost like the shower is sort of like the carrot that I hold out in front of myself for continuing to get things. I wake up in the morning and I have an idea of the things I need to get done by a certain time, generally by the time the boys get out of school. And the very first thing always is work out. That's the first thing that always happens.
Right.
So I work out, and then I've got this list of things I need to get done. Well, I like to just go straight into them and get my stuff done. And then when it's all over with, I take a real hitting shower, and it's like I've gotten my shit done. Also, now I'm clean and I feel good and I hit and stuff. And it's just like it's like a reward system that I've built in for myself that includes a nice shower as part of said reward, and also a big old scoop of dirt. Cradle.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you gotta have.
So I'm saying, take a shower, you get out, you take some dirt, and then like it's I don't know.
You're good.
Just
you're
works
good to
for
go.
me, and I don't mind the sitting in stank part as much as you do. Again, it's not that it hits for me, because again, obviously I'm looking forward to
the shower,
unstanking, but it don't deter me from doing anything else. And most of the things that I always have to do are always internet based.
Right. So what does it matter?
Making videos. I made a video, put it out today. They can't smell me in my videos yet. When that day comes, when the internet figures that out, then it'll be tougher sledding for me all the way around. But yeah,
it
for
won't
now
be long.
they can't smell my stank through my videos. So I just ain't been as worried about it. Anyway, this is the first episode of the most recent batch we recorded, which means we are currently the closest in time to the episode that we're covering. Timeline gets real fucky on this show, as y'all are aware. Like, Clearing the Airs is done the week that the episode comes out. The episode has usually been recorded months in advance. There's past us, future us, present us, past, future y'all, all that shit that comes into play. Well, this week, we just recorded this episode a week ago. 1 week ago tonight. This was the first episode we recorded when Corey flew out here. So, that don't mean we remember it. I know, you talked about the Black Plague and I talked about not working, but because we just recorded this batch, producer Russ, God bless him, hasn't gotten us we haven't been able to listen to the episode, which I'm sure he would say, yeah, well, you just did them. Do you really need to listen to them to know what you said? And the answer is, yeah, we
absolutely,
do.
Without question.
We don't really remember exactly what we said in this episode, but we feel like it wasn't anything too wild. So hopefully that's true, and we don't get canceled or anybody gets too upset.
Well, I had one thing
about it specifically.
I had one thing that I wanted to say, which was it didn't occur to me until after I did. Actually, it didn't occur to me really until Russ we asked Russ for what episode did we do, and he told us that. I was just like, man, people really use our show as an escape from the horrible world. And, maybe they don't want they're hearing politics all day, or they're hearing this and that all day, and they tune into our show that is not political and is just a nice bit of fun escapism. And here I am talking about the Black Plague, which there's no way, isn't going to make people remember the plague that we just went through. And by just went through, I mean are currently living in, and it seems to be will living in perpetuity. So I would like to apologize if anybody was like, oh, this fucking guy,
Oh, hell. Surely not. I mean, never underestimate some people's ability to go, this fucking guy, especially on the internet. But no, dude, the Black Plague, it's so far removed and took place when everybody was still fucking letter dumb and math dumb and all kinds of but peasants coughing to death in the mud, and nobody's like, that was my papaw you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know.
No, it's just it feels not real. They were real people, but it don't feel like you're. And also, again, they had the Slipknot doctors and everything. It was just. It's why it's its own. I think it's fine. I think it's totally fine. If anybody in 2022, despite the fact that we've just lived through our own plague, is triggered by discussion and making light of the Black Plague, then that person does not hit.
Well, and that's true. That's true. I wasn't thinking about it in terms of somebody was actually going to be mad at me, I'm never listening to this fucking show again. But just somebody that might be like, oh, I'm gonna have to skip this fucking week. But of course, the title of the thing was Black Plague, so I guess they, whatever. I just know that I'm tired of talking about the goddamn pandemic. So for me, it was wonderful. Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of them are going to take my whole not working stuff pretty personally, too.
Yeah.
I would assume, at least some of them.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I only ever implied that not working hits, which it does. So yeah. I didn't get on no lazy welfare queen tip or nothing. That's not my style.
No, you did not, because we don't believe that. But I did find it refreshing to talk about a past plague. That was neat, and finding the areas in which, of course, this plague and that one differed. But then, several times talking about how, Jesus Christ, we're just as dumb now. Oh, my God. But, yeah, you're right. Oh, it was a fun episode. I genuinely, this last batch of episodes that we just shot, granted, I guess every single time we shoot a new batch, I go, this was our best batch yet. And that's how it should be. But, like, I feel like we had some real bangers, and y'all should be excited for this upcoming, quote, season.
A lot of the topics that I picked inadvertently, and you'll see this as the weeks go on, but a lot of the topics I picked inadvertently led me back to some of the same ground. Like, we really talked about rich kids being sorry a lot in a lot of different episodes because it just kept coming up. And I would have, like, if I'd have foreseen that, I probably would have split it up a little more in terms of, like, subject matter. I felt like I just ended up back in the same general place, which is that rich kids are sorry.
Yeah, right.
Throughout a lot of these episodes, despite the topic, the ostensible topic at hand. But yeah, we still was hitting though and having a good time with it. So
it was a blast. Well, speaking of hitting, you want me to get to some airmail?
Yeah.
Of course, the airmail, we can be found at puttingonairs@gmail.com, and we got like 100 emails just after our last episode, so that's pretty sweet. And I'd like to start by reading this one from Rebecca Minich. The subject line is having someone else raise your kids, etc. clearing the airs. Dear Corey and Trae, first of all, I absolutely love both you guys. You were both insanely hilarious, and I have been telling all my friends. Appreciate that. That said, I found the Clearing the Air segment almost funnier than the main part of having someone else raise your kids and the Lord Mountbatten episode. All due respect to the you should never have to explain a joke principle, somehow when Corey does it, it comes off as funny or even funnier than the original joke. Have you considered recording a Clearing the Air segment for an episode that, in fact, never happened? In other words, doing a bit consisting entirely of apologies, disclaimers, and clarifications alluding to outrageous and wild shit, while sending fans scrambling online to find the non-existent original material. I think it could totally hit, although it would be hard to top Corey coming straight out of the gate with, I did not mean to defend ISIS. Love y'all. P.S. Lord Mountbatten was a cunt.
All right. That's a tremendous idea. We were just talking the other day during recording about how April Fool's kind of sort of didn't hit for us. Yeah. But, like, that's a really good April Fool's idea.
It is.
I think. It's also just a funny idea. But,
right. And hopefully.
But my thing with it is, I think that's a great idea and it's super funny, but it would also hit real hard and make people would be like, oh, I got to hear this fucking episode.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And then when the episode doesn't actually exist, then that's going to be a bummer.
That's going to be a huge bummer, yeah.
I agree with everything they said, though.
Yeah, I do too. Subject line names. This is from Steve Zanussi. Hi there. Yesterday I was listening to you guys talk about dogs inheriting stuff, and some dog you mentioned had
Yeah.
God damn it. I love what we do.
Intelligentsia over here putting on airs. Now talking about dogs inheriting stuff.
I was listening to you guys talk about dogs inheriting stuff, and some dog you mentioned had IV after his name. That made me think about how fancy people like to serialize their children's names, like maybe Hardison Wadsworth Covington III or something like that. But then a lot of rednecks I know like to name their kids after themselves too. I know a bunch of folks who go by their middle names because their first name is their dad's, or they go by Junior or JR. I was working with a guy named Daniel who named both of his kids Daniel, and he said his wife could call them to dinner by going, Daniel. I know George Foreman liked to name his kids George, too. I always thought that was so self-indulgent. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. He signed it Steve Zucchini. I guess that's his nickname.
I don't know. I don't know if you remember or not. And I don't remember whether it was on mic or off, but we talked about all of this just 3 days ago.
I thought we had.
Because, and I think it's on the episode, so I'm just going to tease it. So maybe Stevie Zucchini will keep listening. Mm-hmm. And if it's not on the episode, that don't hit. But I think it is. We got a special guest of sorts coming up in a few episodes, which poses the very question that you're talking about.
Yes.
The fourth. It's someone, the fourth.
The fourth, yeah.
They show up in the show, and then we talk about all that. But basically, yeah, you're right. I just remember saying, it's like, yeah, but there ain't no Cooter the fourth out there.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's the only line that I remember from it. Again, really hope it's in the actual episode, or we'll just have to do another, in Clearing the Airs, we'll just have to explain how we got that wrong.
Yeah.
But it's a good point, and it oddly just came up between the two of us just the other day while recording.
I thought that it had. I just couldn't remember when. Subject line, an anecdote and a related question, and they have actually told me that they would prefer if I keep their name, I was going to say out of my mouth, but they didn't mean it in that type of way. They just don't want me to say who they were on this email. Hi, Trae and Corey. During last week's Clearing the Airs, I had to laugh when y'all posited that listeners who are experts on things must have a fit when y'all get shit wrong. I don't know that I'm an unimpeachable authority on anything, but I am a high school history teacher, and one day I did get a couple of weird looks when I was out for a run while listening to History with Professor Cho in my earbuds, and I just yelled, "No!" at something he said. But usually y'all get at least the main points correct. I should also add that y'all have worked your way into my AP US history class in the first few days of this school years, with me using the phrase "y'all us" when talking about how the British viewed the colonies, and then saying that in colonial Salem, witches don't hit for them. They don't hit for them.
Well,
anyway, the main reason I'm writing, an anecdote related to last week's episode and a related question. When I listened to the segment about having someone else raise your kids, I was reminded of something that happened very early in my teaching career about 15 years ago I'd forgotten about. A senior girl in my class whose parents were both preachers and those righteous gemstone type churches in town had gotten pregnant in her sophomore year and had a baby. I was teaching in a pretty affluent suburban area, so this was not a trash thing like y'all talked about, and it was pretty rare for the girls at our school to get knocked up. Anyways, by the time I taught this girl, her son was about 2, and she would occasionally bring him to school functions and stuff. But, and here's where it goes a little sideways for me, she told us one day that even though I and her classmates and all her teachers and even the people in her church knew that this little boy was her son, the boy thought that she was her older sister and that her parents were also his parents. Now, I was kind of horrified by this at the time, figured that the kid was headed just for a whole bunch of therapy when he was older, and figured it out, especially when he discovered that everyone else except for him knew what the deal actually was. So my question, when the teenage mom is transformed into the cool hot aunt in these trash towns, as y'all put it, is it an ugly secret within the family that just gets covered up? Or is it like this girl and her kid and everyone's in on it except for him in some kind of fucked up Truman Show type situation? Anyway, love the podcast. Look forward to it every week so I can listen to it on my long runs. Keep it up and can't wait to see y'all on tour again one of these days. You want to take that one, Trae?
I mean, I feel like it could be either or. Generally speaking, I think like the times I ever heard of something like that, it was like a deal where, I mean, seemed like everybody knew it except the parties involved, but nobody said it out loud either. You know, it's like a dirty little secret type thing.
Right.
But that everybody knew. I figure it's rarely like in Chinatown where like nobody knows.
Right. Yeah, the one we
in my experience in these small towns, like especially it's like somebody being gay, in town. It's like you just don't talk about it.
Exactly.
Like, type of thing.
Yeah, the one instance, well, there's a couple instances, but the one instance I know where the girl ended up finding out, we too also found out at the same time. We meaning the kids. I'm certain that there were some parents that were like, hey, don't you think that probably, but like we, it wasn't like everybody was just like, don't tell Charlene or it'll fuck her up. So yeah, that was my experience. And the last one here from Jeff Harrison, subject line, half speed. On the Raise Your Kids episode, you mentioned listening in half speed. Me and my wife did that as you mentioned it. Just so happened to be at the Blue Chew commercial, and my God, that is hilarious. That would be a good outro run for the episode. But love you guys. Super funny and a damn good watch. I can't recommend it enough. Keep it up, guys. Jeff, yeah, that had to be get your wiener good.
Yeah. Get you a new dick.
Yeah. I went back and listened to us on half speed too after we talked about that, because I'd done it before on the Well Read podcast, and I thought surely this isn't going to be as funny to me as it was then. And dude, like, I've listened to things in half speed because there's that feature on Audible, and like I fuck with it from time to time, that just wondering how this person would sound, you know, slowed down or whatever. Never is it as funny as when it's us. Like no one's voice is changed so much and becomes infinitely more stupid when slowed down to half speed than us.
Oh yeah, 100% agreed.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, because we just be dumb and sound dumb and all that.
We do be. Well, thank y'all for the emails here at puttingonairs@gmail.com. Of course, we didn't have time to get to them all this week, but we're gonna try our best. We just can't be on here for 2 hours, so we appreciate y'all, and leave us a 5-star review and tell your friends. We sure would appreciate ya.
Would have.
Okay, bye, Trae.